The work that Dr. Skirton, Dr. Giuliani, and I are presenting here is a new idea, a conjecture, that allows us to better examine how complex systems like our environment and our physiology affect each other.
So the classical answer to this question has been an essentially static analysis. So we measure some aspect of the environment, like how much lead is in the water maybe, and we link this to some aspect of human development, IQ for example. And we've learned a lot about environmental health with this approach, but it's also led to some puzzling sort of implications and interpretations.
We always imagine the environment impacting human health, but we realize that this is not a unidirectional relationship. Humans impact our environment as well. For example, we release pollution into our atmosphere. That pollution comes back and impacts us as we breathe it in. What we are saying here is that we need to examine the physical form of that relationship. The underlying assumption in many of our environmental studies has been that these two complex systems, our environment and our physiology, can transfer information directly. But we are arguing against that. We are saying that direct transfer of information is actually not possible. The information is mediated by an interface. This interface applies constraints to what information can be passed between the environment and our physiology. In other words, it assigns meaning to what is being exchanged.
So our conjecture, the biodynamic interface, seeks to expand our perspective through a focus on the dynamics that connect systems. The central idea underpinning this notion is that systems don't interact directly, but rather through a dynamic bidirectional process, and we refer to this as a biodynamic interface. So interfaces emerge at any level of a system that receives inputs from multiple other systems. So if we measure levels of essential elements in an individual over time, we'll find dynamics driven both by endogenous rhythms and metabolism in the individual, and we'll find signatures of inputs from the environment. We find aspects of both systems. We think these sort of rhythms that emerge in the intermingling of these systems comprise an essential interface that's essential to human health.
For example, we could study the human hand, right from its gross anatomy to the structure of how its muscles connect to the bones and its vasculature and its nerve innervation, down to its molecular and ionic features. And on the same side, we could study a paper from its gross shape down to its molecular and ionic constituents. But we would never be able to figure out what is written on that piece of paper. To understand the meaning of what is written on that piece of paper, we must look at this process-based interface. And that process in this example would be the process of writing. And therefore, to understand how the human hand interacts with a piece of paper, we must look at the process that connects these two systems.
Current paradigms are emphasizing a pseudotoxicological view that's insensitive to temporal dynamics. In contrast, the biodynamic interface conjecture, we're focusing our paradigm in leveraging the complexity in temporal dynamics to provide more specific information about the process of environmental health.
There are many theories out there, theories that study the organization of systems across different levels and different scales, and these theories are essential. That's how we better understand our universe. Our conjecture focuses not on the systems, but rather on the space between them. We are arguing that this space is not empty. On the contrary, this space is essential.